Welcome to Sloth City Paranormal. It is Monday, May 16th, 2022, and today I'll be covering some paranormal news. As always, you can find all the episodes of the podcast, excuse me, along with links to social media, ways to donate, and other ways to contact me at the podcast page, which is Salcedo Paranormal at podbean.com. It's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions for shows, or if you have stories of your own paranormal experiences or those of others that you trust. I can either read those on the show myself, or you can join me on the show to talk about them, if that can be arranged. So the plans for this week are pretty much the usual thing. Today is the news. Tomorrow will be true paranormal stories from the web. Wednesday will be another book review, regular book review. Thursday will be more true paranormal stories from the web. And Friday I will be redoing a show that I did a while back that was not recorded. And that will be focusing on time anomalies and just paranormal and time in general. Maybe even some synchronicities. I haven't started the research yet, but we'll see how it goes. But that's the plans for this week. So let me just pull up the first news story here. I may have to make these new shows a little bit shorter than they've been, just to let you all know. Just because of my eyes, they get worn out easily, and so sometimes finding all these stories for these shows can be a bit much. At least in the amount of stories that I try to put in these shows. So, but anyway, I'll still always do at least 5 or 6. So just 9 or 10 is a bit much. But anyway, starting with some ancient civilizations this time, and thank you all for all of your support and understanding as well in that, and also for listening. Again, whether you listen to the live streams or you listen to the podcast or YouTube feeds. Just recently found out I have over 1,500 views on YouTube and 2,500 downloads on all the podcast platforms total. So, and it's just, those are some amazing numbers, and I really appreciate all of you making all that possible. So, but let me see here. Okay, here is the first link. Again, I always include all these links in the show description. And this is from a website called California 18. Let's see here. And this article is titled, once I get to it, Reinterpreting... Oh wait, is this the right one? Let me see here. I might have gotten the wrong one. No, there we go. I was in the wrong one. Okay. This one is... Let's see here. Okay, there we go. Archaeologists find an ancient Mayan city on the crater of a submerged volcano. And these things I always bring these ancient civilization things up because, there are people there that lived and died, and they had their spiritual beliefs and practices and ceremonies, and I find all of that to be really something to look into because that's consistent throughout time, and that connects in various ways to the paranormal. Um, or at least it could. It seems like it does. So this is Mayan city that was recently explored by a team of archaeologists. It collapsed, or at least it was there in the late pre-classic period, which is 400 BC to 250 AD. And it was made up of temples, houses, and plazas in the middle of the volcanic lake Atitlan. Not sure if I'm saying that right. It's located in the highlands of Guatemala, and it's more than 5,000 feet above sea level. And it's basically a complex city. But basically, what happened is there was this catastrophic event, according to experts, what they believe, that must have been caused by some kind of volcanic activity that caused the city to collapse from below. And so, of course, it had to be abandoned at that point. And the city sank down within this crater and is now between 39 and 65 feet below its surface, according to the Mexico's National Institute of Anthropology. The Sloth City has now been explored by archaeologists, and let's see here. Its objective was to raise awareness of the importance of the city for basically the local communities there. Now, I was wondering about this. It says during the dive, so this is actually underwater, apparently. But archaeologists discovered remains of buildings, columns, ceremonial stones. Again, getting back to that connection to something outside of the physical world, possibly, or at least the interest or beliefs in such things. And from all of this, the scientists were able to generate, and I have to look up this word sometime, a planimetric, planimetric map of the city. The archaeologists also collected silt samples, so soil from the lake, just to study the dynamics of the site and measure its deterioration over time. So, there's more to this article. Let me see here. Only a little more. So this was, it talks about the Mayan civilization a bit, mentioning it was an indigenous society that was spread across what is now Mexico and Central America. Their first settlements were formed during the pre-classic period, and it prospered for 3,000 years, quite a bit, until it mysteriously disappeared. Towards the end of the 9th century, the cities were slowly abandoned one by one. Again, another one of those mysteries, at least as far as I know, that has not been completely solved yet as to why everything was abandoned. In that case of that crater, that's understandable. There was something that happened there that made everything sink and fall. So, but that's not the case everywhere, I don't think. So, but yeah, so that's the first one there. So hello to everyone in chat. I see you there, Ken, APOC, Derek. Yeah, weird news. Yes. Always like these kind of shows. So, and they were heavily inspired by friends of the show, both Derek, the Night Stalker, and Michael Strange. So, and those two were very supportive in telling me that it could be done, and I'm really grateful for that. So let's see here. Let's move on to the next one that I started to read the title of, even though it wasn't the right one, but now it is. So I'll put that one in the chat here. And, okay. So this one is from sapiens.org. And it says, the title is Reinterpreting Life and Death in Ancient Nubia. So let me get into this article here. And this, let's see here. This talks about the Nile River Valley. Talks about basically powerful yet misunderstood civilizations spreading throughout the area thousands of years ago. And now, this is a term I had never heard of before, but it's really something. Bioarchaeologists are rethinking, this is part of the subtitle here, are rethinking funerary rituals and life in ancient Nubia, and I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. And empowering local Sudanese scholars. And I didn't mention the last one who it was by, but this one is by Michelle R. Buzon. I'm not sure how you would say that for sure. Apparently, this article was originally published in something called The Conversation and has been republished with Creative Commons. Okay. But this article starts off talking about circular mounds of rocks that have been found throughout the desert, throughout the site, archaeological site of. This is odd. I don't even know if this is a word that was originally from this area or not, but Tombos, so Tombos. I'm not sure, but it's just ironic in a way that tomb is the first four letters of the name. In northern Sudan. And apparently they reveal tumuli, Tumuli, which are the underground burial tombs used at least as far back as 2500 BC by the people that lived in this area that called it either Kush or Nubia. So these are, let's see here. Yeah, so these are basically ancient underground burial tombs. Again, going back to the idea that same thing with a lot of Egyptian people in Egypt, important people, rulers in Egypt were buried not necessarily in pyramids always, but in these underground areas. And so these were human skeletal remains were found in these underground tombs or vaults, along with their related grave goods they mentioned here in this article. And that's just various things important to them, I guess, in life and in what they believe to be the afterlife. Treasures, a lot of cases, treasures of different kinds. So this article goes really deep. It's kind of funny. I didn't mean that there's a pun there. I didn't mean. But and I don't know enough about it to get into it. But just this idea that more and more of these tombs are being found in different areas that are underground, and it just, if you think of modern practices, people do the same thing. They put people underground, so put their remains underground. But so yeah, I just wanted to share that. Again, that's a long article. Some of these more scientific articles are harder to summarize for me, but I still like to share them just in case anyone that wants to check them out. I definitely recommend that. So, move on to this next article here. We'll see how many. I have like 10 articles, but we'll see how many we get through today. But move on to the next one. And this one is again talking about tombs. So, I didn't realize I didn't plan on that, but apparently it's the subject that has just popped up through the collecting of the stories today. And this is from Egypt Today. And I don't know how to say this first name, or this name. ANFUSHI, and I'm not even going to try to say it. But these tombs are one of the most important Greco-Roman monuments in Alexandria. And this is by someone, I don't know how to say their first name for sure, but their last name is listed as Murray. And this is these tombs are, they say they're some of the most important Greek monuments in the city of Alexandria, which I'm guessing is near Cairo, according to this this title, or this first part of this article here. The tombs, these have been discovered between 1901 and 1921, so that's over 100 years ago now. And apparently they were carved into the rock, and they date back to the 3rd century BC, about 250 BC. Again, that same period of time, really. Just about. Mentions that these tombs are have fresco decorations, which are colored plaster for covering walls and ceilings, imitating alabaster and marble, and they're still in good condition according to this article. These include 5 funerary buildings, which are, they say, they are cemeteries, similar to the Alexandrian, there we go, cemeteries in terms of an open courtyard and a front room for prayers leading to the funeral room. And 2 of these are apparently among the most important in the area. Because, and that's basically they figured out because of the beautiful descriptions and unique architectural design. So, goes into more detail here about some of these tombs, in terms of paintings on walls and the ceilings that mix mural photography with the use of decorative architectural elements taken from ancient Egyptian art. And let's see here. Goes into more detail, and I think I'll let you all check out the rest of that on your own. But yeah, so I thought there were some neat stories there. I always love the ancient civilization stories. So we will get into some UFO stuff here. We'll go with this one first, because the next 2 are kind of similar. Let's see here. Yeah. So Derek brings up a good point here. I feel like there have been a bunch of tomb-related stories lately. Almost like the tombs and practices themselves are being resurrected. Yeah. It's funny how you find these patterns when you look into all the different news stories out there. I just do it through actually I use the I use online resources to bring the stories to me for the most part, but it's still funny how that works there. Find You find threads. So, but this next one is from Fox 8 Cleveland. Apparently, it's by Laura Morrison, and the title is "Need to Find Out: UFO Sightings Soaring Over Ohio." So let's get into this one. And let's see here. So it says that over the last few months, a lot of reports of UFOs have come from Akron, Mayfield Heights, Crestline, and other communities. And then it has a link here to another article. It talks about Ohio being in the top 10 states for UFO sightings. Some of the objects apparently resemble objects that were aircraft that were recorded or seen by the military off the coast of Florida, while others don't look anything like those that have been reported there. So it's just this idea that there have been more and more sightings apparently in that area. Mentions MUFON, Mutual UFO Network, and goes into a little bit more detail about the idea that we need to know what these things are, which is where the title comes from, and mentions a source from MUFON talking about how if these things are penetrating airspace with impunity, we need to know, or we need to find out. So that's a quick one, but still, I like to when I find these that are talk about sightings going up or just being active in a certain area, I like to share them. So now these next two, you'll see why they're linked in a second here. Let's see here. I thought about copying and pasting all the links in the chat at once before, but that just seems like a lot of might be a bit of a pain for anyone trying to read the chat. So you can let me know what you all think about that. If that'd be easier, I can probably do that next time. Anyway, let's see here. So this next one is from thesun.co.uk, and the title is "Google Maps Fans Think They've Spotted a Crashed UFO on," let's see here, on a mysterious uninhabited island. And this mentions that people online, basically in various online platforms, think they've spotted what could be a crashed extraterrestrial spacecraft on a remote island in the Pacific Ocean. Now, whether that is or not, just the idea of that people that brings up a point to me that kind of makes me maybe hopeful about more things happening in the future, which is that there are people that are looking at all these things like Google Maps and other things and looking for things like this. And of course, I'm sure most of the time they end up turning out being just ships or remains of ships that have crashed into these places or other objects. But apparently this object is seen at rest with a trench trailing behind it. But just I wanted to bring this up because the idea is exciting in a way. It's also, I'm sure it delivers a lot of false positives, but and there are people that, of course, are saying that it's just shipwreckage from before. Even in one case, they're saying that the tides may have pushed a ship or the remains of a ship into the island, causing the trench. Now, I don't know how likely that is, so I'm not getting into the details on this one because of that. But anyway, so, and it mentions that again, like I just said, um, this kind of stuff I think is going to keep on happening. So, and that brings me to the next article. Maybe we'll get through all these today. I guess it's always going to depend on how long it takes to review these articles. But let's see here. Yeah, that's true. Apex, I'm good with either way. Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think I'll just always have to see how it goes. But this next one here, I found these two one right after the other. And this one talks about, this is from the Prairie Post. Google Map captures UFO in Bermuda Triangle. Here. And this was posted on May 4th by Neil Roberts. And apparently it mentions that, now this is not a crash. This is apparently a glimpse of a UFO. Apparently in the air, I'm guessing, near an aquarium, museum and zoo in 2015. And it says on this article, I don't know for sure, but it says that's even labeled as a UFO on their own maps. And it gives links to I'm guessing the location. If y'all want to check that out, I'd definitely, you can definitely do that. And, so yeah, that's just, again, I think this is going to be more and more common. So, and this is from 2015, so this is, or at least that sighting was from that far back, from 7 years ago. So, and of course, Bermuda Triangle is long been associated with strange paranormal happenings there as well. So that's another reason why I had to bring it up. So, but yeah, so there's that one, and that's the end of the UFO stuff for now. The last few I have here are more associated with ghosts and spirits and whatever they may be. And so let's see here. This one is from the Daily Record. It says ghost hunters investigate Kirk O shots. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Gray Lady. And this is a church. This goes back to the idea that some of these places where people meet to for various ceremonies that are important to them, and they basically collect their energy in a way, if you think about it, may attract paranormal activity. At least it seems like that's possible. And apparently this is not just idea. Supposedly paranormal investigators have been collecting audio recordings and photographs at this location, at this church. And this is by Michael Pringle, apparently. And so this is in the, I don't know how to say this for sure, North Lanarkshire Church. And the group that's investigating this is Scottish Paranormal. But just the idea that this is also it's still an active location as far as it's not abandoned. There are still people still go there on a regular basis on Sundays. It says to for their religious practices. So. And then, of course, you hear all the time about abandoned locations that used to be churches or other religious locations that have activity surrounding them. Apparently, the present building was opened in 1821, but the graveyard of the area, or the church, contains headstones which date back to the early 1600s. And apparently there's multiple apparitions that have been seen there. So, including a gray lady, and that whole thing, the different colored apparitions, gray ladies, white ladies, women in black, women in white, women in blue. That's another major thing that is common in reports. So, yeah. Just see comment here from Ken. Starbuck Island, referring back to that first Google Maps story. I found that ironic too. I just wasn't going to mention it, but yeah, no, I did. I noticed that. So, but yeah, then APOC there with the image here in the chat. Yes, we are nerds, and that's okay. But anyway, let's see here. So that's that article. I've got a few more to go here. I think I will get through them tonight. Let's see how we're doing. Yeah, okay. This next one, I'll definitely leave you all to read most of it, but whenever there are these articles with multiple experiences or sightings in an area, I always like to share them. And so this is quite the station name, 92 Moose, if that's a station name, I'm thinking. I don't know for sure. Anyway, and this is from this website here. And so it says these 11 creepy ghost stories from Maine, and that's here in the U.S. Maine locals will have you afraid of the dark. Of course, they go with that kind of a title, but it mentions. Let me see here. Let me see where. Okay, this is from Megan Morrison, and it says that the author has seen the movies, heard all the stories, and it just talks about themselves a little bit here. And they mention, funny enough, they mention Hollywood and how the movies frighten them, which that's something we talked about on Friday's show with Michael Strange. So definitely recommend you all, if you haven't listened to that, go back to that, because that was a very fun show. But anyway, this goes on, and let's see. They mention here they ask a question: is there paranormal activity in Maine? And they say allegedly yes, and they say they believe in it, but they have to use the word allegedly because they obviously can't prove anything. And I hear that a lot, and that's understandable in a way. And I understand that, and I do agree that that's not a bad position to take, but also not everyone is going to be making stuff up. But anyway, I'll get off of that. That's one of my pet peeves, as you all probably know by now that have listened before or heard me talk before. Okay. So this, I'll just go into this first story here. And it's actually in really big writing, which is nice. It says, when I was about 5 years old, I woke up to the feeling of a cat marching on my legs. When I looked down, there was a very large black cat walking slowly up my body. I couldn't move or scream. I heard a noise from my parents' room. And the large cat that also had bright red eyes turned quickly and ran through the wall at the foot of my bed. Wow. Never saw it again. So that's quite the thing. ghost cats going through walls. Although that one was acting a little bit weird. I don't know if that was really, that might have just been taking that form of that. It seems like it, I mean, obviously it's hard to say if it had any kind of bad intentions or not, but, and this it sounds like sleep paralysis, and that could have been caused by that, but also could have just been natural and even, maybe even natural fear that was making it hard to move. Again, so many different factors there at play. So I'll read one more because these are actually not too long. So this next one says, when I got into a fight with my mother and I went to bed and I woke up, there was this dark figure hanging over me with a hood, and it was some kind of a demon, of course. And I couldn't talk and I couldn't move. So it seems like a lot of these are more oriented toward the negative side of things, as happens with these kind of articles. I'm just um, looking into it more, and I guess I should have looked at the stories to see what kind they were. But anyway, if you ever want examples of reports of negative experiences, they're pretty easy to find out there. But anyway, there's another one. Definitely, I guess, good if you want to. Wow. Okay. I was just looking at the my notifications here. Looking at the there's I totally lost my train of thought. Anyway, but Derek says, "Love me some weird New England." Yeah, Stephen King loves me. Well, Stephen King was, I believe, he was from Maine. So yeah, but so there's that one. Again, like I said, just be aware. It does seem like a lot of those stories in that article focus on the darker side of things. So let's see here. Looks like I have 2 more to go. So I can get through them. The last one will be easy to cover. So here's this one. This one is from WAT. So WATE6 on your side. So I'm guessing that is a station of some kind. So this one is another. Oh, I see. Okay, so this is says Living East Tennessee is I guess the category heading. The title of this one is Exploring Paranormal Activity at Greystone Mansion. I've heard of this place before, just in various podcasts and things. And this is by Alante Walker. Not sure. I'm probably butchering that name, and I apologize. But this mansion is rumored to be one of Knoxville's most historic landmarks. Oh, I'm sorry. Rumored that one of Knoxville's most historic landmarks basically has paranormal activity going on. Those are the rumors, not that that's most historic. I can read. Anyway. So this is the home of, apparently the home of this station. It was built by coal tycoon and I'm not even gonna. His last name is Camp. Following the Civil War, and apparently he was a major. And many say that Major Camp and others connected to him still basically exist at this mansion. Many of the people that work in the station have had experiences, including ghost sightings, hair pulling, and being pushed down the stairs. So that's not so fun. So because of all this, the North American Paranormal Research Team spent a night checking the place out. And it's this group is based out of East Tennessee. Apparently, this group was able to connect with several spirits, including one that was thought to be Minerva Mallory Hinman, who is Major Camp's mother. And so it's just mentioning this investigation that happened there. So, but anyway, it does seem like no matter where you look, you can find places that may have paranormal things happening in them. So this last one won't take long to cover. It's just something that I think a lot of us would do a similar thing. Derek, that place sounds majorly haunted. Nice. Okay. So this one, again, won't take long to cover, but I have to admit I'd be doing the same thing. Similar thing here. This is from the BBC in the UK. Lottery winners who bagged £30,000 a month, I believe it's pounds, pursue paranormal passion. Nice use of the alliteration, I believe it is. But and it just talks about how these people won this lottery, and now they're able to go and apparently they've become paranormal investigators. They're starting to, and I have to say I'd be doing the same thing if I could. If I had won an amazing amount of money and it was going to keep coming every month, yeah, I'd be doing all kinds of traveling around. So, just had to share that real quick. I don't need to get into the details of that one. It's there for you all to check out yourselves. But I have to say, good for them. If that's definitely something I'd be doing with part of whatever lottery winnings I got, especially if it was Salcedo Paranormal Task Force. Well, it would definitely be part of it in one way or another. That's for sure. But yeah, so I had to share that because wouldn't that be amazing to have that happen? Just be able to go out and look into things whenever you want to and not worry about having to work at a job. They even mentioned one of the winners was a couple. One of the winners mentioned that they had to until everything was confirmed, they still had to go to work meetings like online and things, and it was really hard to focus, obviously. But I just love that that's one of the things that they're doing is that. So, but so that covers everything for today. These are fun. A lot of these are really fun to look into, and of course tomorrow will be true paranormal stories from the web, and we'll go from there. So, thank you all for being here and for listening, and however you listen. And I will talk to you all tomorrow night on the next episode of Salcedo Paranormal. Take care.